Dear Jocko, I've been watching some of your YouTube links with great interest.
Must be a subscriber to the YouTube channel.
Yep. Watching those videos. I'm sure you're extremely busy, but I have a question, which if you have time, I would greatly appreciate your reply. I've taken
Very
jiu-jitsu.
polite opening, by the way.
Very much so.
Okay.
Dang, I'm going to incorporate that approach. So I've taken up BJJ, Jiu-Jitsu, recently in London, in the UK. So a beginner. I know you're a great advocate of the system, but my basic question is your opinion. Does it truly relate to real life fight situations? I'm a man now approaching my mid-40s in pretty good shape, and I'm looking to focus on a martial art that would help me if I ever need to defend myself or my family. I love the discipline and humility of BJJ and as a workout. I know the philosophy of BJJ is that most fights end up on the ground, and it's here that BJJ excels. But what of the other guys who might be standing around ready to bottle you or kick you in the head once you're grappling on the ground, etc.?
Again, this is a question that, first of all, I've answered this a lot of times.
Sure.
But I'll answer it one more time.
Sure.
Jiu-jitsu is the best place to start. You should also learn boxing, wrestling, kickboxing. This is all in Discipline Equals Freedom Field Manual. So if you get that book, this will be laid out for you very well. So yes, that's what you should start studying with. This guy, mid-40s, wants to learn something. Yes, start with jiu-jitsu. Does it relate to real life situations? Yes, it does. It absolutely does. I've been in them. It's extremely effective. And you can see that over and over again, speaking of YouTube. You can see how effective jiu-jitsu is in real fights. Now, it's important to remember that for self-defense, the grappling arts in general should be used primarily to get away, to avoid going to the ground, right? Like when you bring up, oh, well, what if there's other people that might be there? You should, why are you on the ground? Mm-hmm. Jiu-jitsu will give you the best opportunity to get up off the ground. That's what it gives you. And then you can get away from the people that are getting ready to stick you with a smashed bottle, or getting ready to kick you in the head. If you don't know jiu-jitsu, guess what you're doing? You're on the ground, and you're getting kicked in the head, and you're getting stabbed with a bottle. Yeah. That's why you train jiu-jitsu, so you can get up off the ground, not so you can take someone to the ground. Because, by the way, and I've said this before, if your goal is to punch me and you're standing at a punching distance or a striking distance from me, I can just run away. That's my self-defense. I can get away from you. Mm-hmm. So that's why we train jiu-jitsu. That's the primary. That's why you should start with it. Because otherwise, I'm just going to get away from you. If you're not if once you grab me though, I can't get away from you anymore. Mm-hmm. Now I have to be able to handle myself. Yep. That's why I know jiu-jitsu. So I can handle myself once you've grabbed me. If you're not grabbing me, I can just get away from you. I can just run away from you. Mm-hmm. If you don't want to run away because it's going to hurt your pride, well, then guess what? That's why you train all the time. I mean, now we go back and forth, and we can talk about all the negative things that will happen if you get into a street fight, like the fact that you can get hurt, you can get stabbed, you can get shot, you can get sued, you can get arrested, you can ruin your life, you can do all these horrible things can happen if you get in a street fight. So that's why my advice to you is to avoid street fights. Yeah. That's what you do. And by the way, that's why you work on your awareness. That's why you make your wife and your children aware of what's going on around them, to pay attention to what's happening in the street. It's one thing that was interesting when I was in Australia, and I was in a nice part of Australia. And I was talking to some people about it. You know, there's just a very relaxed atmosphere. Mm-hmm. Where I was standing in a very nice part of Australia. There's a very relaxed atmosphere. Mm. When you're in America, there's a heightened atmosphere. There's a heightened awareness you have to have. And depending on where you are, and it's the same thing, I'm sure, in Australia. I only went to the nice part. I'm sure you could go to some tough areas where you better be more aware of what's happening. But teach your kids, because some kids don't know the difference. Mm-hmm. Maybe you don't even know the difference of what to look out for, what kind of people you need to watch out for in the street. So work on that, and then, yes, train. And you're in UK, and of course, I've said this before, if you're truly in a situation where you feel threatened on a regular basis, well, then what you need is a firearm. Because if someone's going to attack you with a knife or with a bottle or with themselves having a gun, jiu-jitsu isn't going to help you. Boxing is going to help you. Eskrima is not going to help you if someone has a gun. So, yeah. And by the way, if you're in a knife fight and you know some Eskrima, that will help you. But what if the other guy's better than you? What if there's two of them?
Yeah.
The minute you put two people against one, the odds of winning are just extremely low. Yeah. Extremely low. Does it happen? Yes, it happens. Can you knock someone out? Yes, you can. That's why you train boxing.
Yeah.
So, yes, again, train some jiu-jitsu. Start there and go and keep going and don't stop.
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like this question always comes from a place where they just assume all these things, and those things are, I'm going to choose to get in a fight with someone, bring it to the ground in the middle of the street or in the club, I don't know, wherever there's potential other attackers with bottles and kicks to the head. And so all these things are just assumed, kind of like, yeah, you take jiu-jitsu, now you can go to the club and get in fights and win all the time. It's kind of like that's kind of where the question's coming from, where you said, yeah, it allows you to get up. So basically, it allows you to control your situation, your fight scenario. Yeah, more. Yes. And I would even say it allows you a lot more to control it. Because even if you do take it, let's say you take it to the ground.
I meant more by a little bit
more than nothing. Yeah. No, yeah, I'm saying a lot more. Because really, when you think of it, and I try to, granted, even like at a beginner level. So let's say, okay, if you choose to engage with someone in some kind of fight, right? It's up to you how heavy you want to take that fight. You want to go to 10, you go to 10. You want to go to just 1, you can go to 1. So if you wind up on the ground, which is the worst place to be if you don't know anything, on the ground.
Yeah.
And that's aside from how you said if the guy has a gun and shoots you, you're talking about, that's not even a fight scenario. That's, so you wind up on the ground.
It's a gunfight.
It's a gunfight, yeah. If you know boxing, you're going to have almost no control over that scenario if we're on the ground and someone's on top of you. Yeah.
Your boxing is not worthless.
Yeah, marginalized, we'll say.
But it's heavily marginalized.
Yeah.
Heavily marginalized.
Yeah. Same thing with, kickboxing and whatever. So there's that. If you know jiu-jitsu, just a little bit of jiu-jitsu, if you're on the ground, you have control of the fight more, depending on your level, whatever. So if you're at that point still facing a threat of someone with a bottle or kicks to the head or whatever while you're on the ground, compare it if you know jiu-jitsu versus if you don't know jiu-jitsu. You're still saving way more control.
Way more.
So meanwhile, like the boxing situation or karate situation, whatever, is gonna be less effective in controlling your situation. Now, if you don't look at it like that, like if you look at it like, okay, this guy's squaring up to me, now I want to mess him up as quickly as I can, then okay, like you can do boxing and just take it to 10, but you don't have the option of taking it from 1, 2, 3 or nothing like that.
Yeah, but the other thing is, like, it's hard to knock someone out.
That's the second part.
It's hard to knock someone out. Yeah. Does it happen? Yeah, it does happen. And it can happen to you too. It can happen to you too. But it's hard to knock someone out. And it's risky. As soon as you start saying, okay, you and I are going to just trade punches, there's a risk for both of us. There's a risk for me. The assurance of me being able to handle the situation the way I want it to go by closing the distance with you, getting control, getting a hold of you. If I'm trained and you're not, you're done. Yeah, you're done. Right. That's the way it works.
Yeah, and then even then, that's like if you choose for this guy to be done. So if your sole purpose is to keep yourself safe,
you could just put the guy to sleep and walk away.
Yeah,
or gently lay him down,
or just be like, mount. I'm not even gonna hurt him. Not gonna put him to sleep. Nothing. Mount. You see a guy, you can see the guy coming with a bottle or whatever. Yeah. Way more if you know jiu-jitsu. So
there's the whole thing of when you're just used to the physical contact, the bodies clashing and grappling.
Less shocking.
Yeah. So train jiu-jitsu. Then train boxing, wrestling, kickboxing. And then, of course, now people will be like, what about judo? Yes, train judo. What about sambo? Yes, train sambo.
Yeah.
What else? What else do I need to do? What about Krav Maga? Sure, train it.
Yeah.
Yeah, train everything.
Yeah.
I'm down.
I think
Start with jiu-jitsu.
what you said on a real general level is the most critical thing. It's like when someone gets a hold of you, like, and you put this into perspective a while ago when you were like, yeah, if someone wants to fight you, walk away or run away.
Yeah.
You go, but, and you said all these scenarios, you run away, or you go away. You want to keep yourself safe, you don't be there.
The best thing to do to avoid the getting punched, falling on the curb, dying, getting stabbed, getting kicked, getting stabbed with a bottle, getting arrested, getting lawsuit, getting all those things happening, the best thing to do, run away, walk away.
Yeah, leave fully. And then you said, but what happens when you can't run away?
Because the guy grabs you.
There it
there
is.
you have it.
Yeah. So it seems like, yeah, I'm going to train boxing so I can do self-defense. Oh, no, you want to fight somebody. That's what you want to do. You want to punch people in the face.
Well, boxing,
with no jiu-jitsu, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, but boxing is a skill that everybody should have. Not everyone. Good people should have, because there's two critical things on that you learn from boxing: is how to punch people and how to avoid getting punched.
Yeah.
And how to keep your guard up, right?
Fully.
Those are important. Those are really important skills to have.
Yeah, fully. But what I mean is, if you're starting from nothing and you're like, okay, I'm gonna choose to address my self-defense situation.
You have a fantasy that you saw a guy on YouTube that was clearly a boxer knock out two people in a street fight, and you're like, that's what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, that's
and
what I mean.
you actually watched was a guy that was a Golden Gloves boxer, who was sober, knock out two drunk idiots. And guess what? A Golden Gloves boxer will do that. Have you ever sparred with a Golden Gloves boxer? They're freaking good. They're freaking good.
No kidding.
They're like a black belt in boxing.
Yeah.
And they will knock out two drunk guys all day long.
Yeah. Yeah, it's weird too, because you kind of.
But if a third drunk guy, or even that first drunk guy, grabs a hold of the boxer, and gets him to the ground, the boxer's going to be in trouble.
Yeah.
That's the way it is. And this isn't like my thoughts. This is fact.
Yeah.
This is like I talked about this in the field manual. It's like, look, there's no conjecture. It's not like I wonder what would happen. No, we know what happens. We know what happens when two people fight, and you can watch all the different various types of styles going at it, and you can watch what happens. Yeah. And sure, you can find the rare video where, hey, this boxer knocks out a couple drunk people, or even, hey, the boxer knocks out the jiu-jitsu guy. Does that happen? Yes, it can absolutely happen. That's why you train boxing too.
Yeah. Next question.